So one thing is about the variable assignment and initialization. So we need to be careful when you're using the assignment operator. The value you want to assign is always on the left-hand side. So for example, here you want to assign the item variable equal to 12. So one thing is you need to be very careful if you try to assign item equal to 12. It doesn't mean you cannot do that for you have variable on the right. But the problem is we always in the C++, in the assignment operator, we try to assign the right value to the left. So can you assign a value equal to, assign the value to 12? No, you cannot because 12 is 12. 12 is a literal value. So then we try to assign the item value. For example, earlier item value is 12, right? Okay. So then here, yeah, we should say here. Okay, we say 10. Okay. So earlier your item value is 12, but now you try to have the item assigned to the left value. Okay. So the left value actually is not a variable, it's a constant number. So they don't have location to save the value you want to assign. So that's why it is need to be careful. The variable received the value must appear on the left-hand side. Here is the value we want to assign to. Because in C++ or most programming language, we assign value from the right to the left. So the left, when we say we want to assign the value to here, right, they need to have space to save the value here. Item is a variable, right, so we have space. But when you have the space here, item equal to 12, earlier we assigned, right? So now it's 12 equal to 10. But 10 actually doesn't have a location because 10 is a constant number. They don't have a memory location you can access. So that's why it's an error. But the other one is if you have two variables, one variable called A, the other variable called B. So then A equal to 5, B equal to 6. So now if we want to assign A equal to B, this one is okay. Why? Because you see B is a right-hand side. So we want to assign the value from B to A. So then B actually equal to 6, right? So we just assign 6 to override where the A already is. So A already is 5. So that location we just overwrite become 6. So then afterward, right, so A and B, they both equal to 6. Just help you to try to understand. We just say, for example, here's A. You see A originally have 5. Okay, so here is B. B originally have 6. So now when you want to assign A equal to B, so B value is 6, right? So that's why here they override this one becomes 6. So 5 becomes 6. So that's why A and B, you see A and B, they still have their own location. But just now when you reassign, their value is the same. Okay, so you will have a couple examples here. I want you to make sure you will run the program and also make sure you see if your output is the same as what you expect. And also try to change the value to see your result. So the next one actually we want to talk about is a special keyword in C++. We call the auto keyword. After C++ 11, we introduced an alternative way to define variable, to use the auto keyword and an initialization value. So for example, you see, you can define a variable called amount. So the auto actually didn't specify what data type is. But after you use the auto, right, please make sure you need to assign a value. So after you assign the value, because 100, okay, so we see that's the integer value. So then they will make this amount as an int data type. So the auto keyword tells the compiler to determine the variable data type from the initialization value. So on the other hand, if you have auto interest rate equal to 12.0, because you have decimal, so then the auto will define double with that. So then here you have the auto start code because you have double quote, so then we're using the character. So then you have another variable. So here, for example, we do receive because you give me the loan. So auto detect the loan data type. So that's why they assign this variable customer number to loan. Also, that's one way for the auto keyword. So you need to be careful when you're using the auto keyword to define a variable, you have to give them the initialization value. Otherwise, compiler doesn't have enough information for that. So that's about the variable. So end of this video, I will talk about the last one, about the variable. We call the variable is a constant variable. So what is a constant variable? So the constant variable, when you're using the algebra concept, you can understand this number is a constant number. The value cannot be changed. Right, so in C++, when we define a constant variable, that means the variable contents cannot be changed during the program execution. So they are using to represent constant value with descriptive name. For example, you see the tax rate. For tax rate is the same as a county or in the state. So when you are, for example, in Costco, right? So or any department store. So when you try to pay your money, they need to charge you tax. So this tax actually cannot be changed all the time. And also they should apply on all the taxable items. So that's why the tax rate equal to 0.0875. That's a double value. So in order to make this value cannot be changed anymore, so we put the constant keyword before the data type. So after you have the constant keyword with the data type and your variable, you assign the value. Okay. Afterward, if you want to assign tax rate equal to 0.09, actually you see I cross that out because you will have a compiling error. Okay, so the same thing, your const keyword can associate with any variable type. So they just make this variable become constant number. They cannot change anymore. So the constant variable should be defined and assigned value. Because the constant variable cannot be reassigned the value afterward. So every time when you define a constant variable, please make sure you also assign the value. And also for this class, please have all your constant variable name in uppercase. So that's why when we read your program, when we see all the uppercase, even we didn't see their definition at the beginning, but whenever we see in between the program, we know this variable is a constant variable. So you can see this program, that's very special one, right? We have the pi, right? So our pi equal to 3.14159. So we make that as a constant number. Because we know all the time when we want to find the circumference, we're using the pi. When we're using the area to find the circle area, we need to use the pi. So pi need to be a constant number. So this example, just for example, we say the diameter we cannot change. So then we make that constant number. So this example is a constant variable. And also if you try to run this program, I also have the 12e. So this one is, I do have a pi, but I try to reassign the pi. So that's why for different IDE you run will be different. So this screenshot I came from as code. Also then you will see they have error. So that's why they told you cannot assign to variable pi with constant qualification type. Because the pi is constant double. So that's why you cannot reassign the value. So that's all about our variable.